Coming up on this episode.
Oh bugger!
Hello again, wingmen. This is TallyMouse. It's early December and I'm flying over the Lake District in northwest England in my Just Flight British Aerospace Hawk T1, and I'm looking at the majesty of the Northern English winter wonderland below me. I've just finished flying 3 very scenic routes located within low-flying area number 17, which is an area rich in famous landmarks, rugged mountains, and the houses of world-renowned authors and poets. I'll break these 3 routes into 3 individual episode parts, and we'll cover the first route in this part 1 of 3. It wasn't snowing when I started flying from RAF Valley, but the landscape has changed since. Below me to my left is Coniston Water, where the British hero and speed demon Donald Campbell sadly met his untimely death on the 4th of January 1967 while attempting a world water speed record in his Bluebird K7.
Can't see anything. Hello? The bow's up. I'm going. Oh bugger!
Below me to my right is Windermere with Ambleside at its northern tip and Bowness halfway up on the eastern shore in sight of the islands in the middle of the lake. Windermere was home to Beatrix Potter, who was already creating talking animals about the time Walt Disney was born, whereas nearby Grasmere was home to the poet William Wordsworth. So how do you get here? Departing runway 01 at RAF Valley, head northeast or 45 degrees for 67 miles until you reach the southern part of Walney Island located on the western shores of Morecambe Bay. We shall use this point as a datum for further navigation in episode parts 2 and 3. We'll call it EGU Wharton. All low-level routes through LFA 17 are typically south to north to aid deconfliction with other users of the low-level environment. Our first route in this 3-part episode will take us up the coast at bearing 337 for 20 miles to the Ravensglass estuary. We'll then turn bearing 042 for 6 miles while we make our descent and entry into low level, intersecting the southwestern tip of Wastwater. We'll maintain over 1,000 feet as we cross over the coastline and the estuary due to potential bird activity, and then we'll complete our descent into low level. After flying over Wastwater, we'll turn a hard left and climb up Mossdale with Kirk Fell to our right, then make a 5G overbank to clear Blacksail Pass, then crossing over Ennerdale while hopefully missing the haystacks, and then rapidly overbanking to the left to then drop down to and not into Buttermere. We'll then follow the valley, flying over Crummock Water and head due north before exiting low level just before we reach the town of Cockermouth. Yes, it's really called that. I'll explain the other 2 routes in parts 2 and 3 of this episode. So let's get to it. If you are enjoying this video so far, please remember to honk subscribe, click like, and flick the bell if you'd like to receive notifications about future videos. For those interested, all of my Microsoft Flight Simulator, NVIDIA, OpenXR, Pimax XR, and Pimax Play settings will be at the end of this video. As we come in over the Ravensglass estuary, we'll stay above 1,000 feet to provide deconfliction from birdlife that mostly inhabits the coastline. Low-level environment in the UK is below 2,000 feet AGL, and as we continue our descent, we'll be switching our external lights on with an anti-collision light set white strobe to make ourselves as visible as possible. We will be shifting to VHF low-level common so we can make call-outs as we progress, and switching our transponder squawk to 7001. That code, being UK specific, refers to a sudden military climb-out of low-level operations. The visuals here are absolutely stunning and is made all the better by the Pimax crystal I'm currently using. If you're viewing this on a 4K flat screen, note that I'm seeing about 3 times the vertical field of view that you can see on your monitor, while viewing 8K across both eyes. If you'd like to buy one for yourself, you can use the link in the description below. Remember to use the coupon code TallyMouse at the checkout for a handsome discount. Side turn to the left, the weather looks clear. Climbing up the valley now. We'll gain some height while we position for the overbank. Speed's coming up 480 knots. Banking 5G over the top, throttles back as we descend. We'll continue to roll through to a left-hand overbank. If I had a low height warner in this thing, I would have been resetting it by now. Throttle idle. Buttermere ahead, 400, 350, 300, level 250, feels good. This speed and altitude will be gulping through around 26 kilos of fuel per minute or around 3.5 kilos per mile, so we'll keep an eye on the fuel gauge as we reach a less dynamic point in our route, such as now. I think we'll go to the right of Scale Hill. In the valley to make sure it's clear, looking good for the pullout. With cockermouth on the nose, no pun intended, we'll start our climb out procedure, undoing everything we did during the descent to low level. Switching our external lights back to normal navigation, talking to air traffic control, and switching away from VHF low level common, and also reassigning our squawk away from 7001. Hope you have enjoyed flying this first route with me in LFA 7. As promised, my Microsoft Flight Simulator settings are coming up for your viewing pleasure to the soothing tones of the BBC Symphony Orchestra playing Darkside, arranged by yours truly. See you in part 2, wingmen.